Good evening, Fernwood. It is your perplexed persona Neil here, and it's time for us to get personal with another episode of Mary Hartman. Today we are watching episode 206 from January 17th, 1977. Let's take a look at last week. After Mary pulled some strings to help Tom get his job back at the factory, he was disappointed to find out that it was not an executive position and rather the same old mind-numbing job that he held before that kept him depressed. Mary assures Tom that the position isn't important and what is important is that the family is happy and healthy, and Tom settled to take the job back at the factory. Heather and Philip had another conversation about their views on sex and then shared their first kiss, at which point Mary walked in on them and got very stern. Next door at the Shumways, Martha started a pet-sitting service to help pay for the mortgage. Kathy spent a couple of episodes in labor having her baby, and as the baby was born, Christine Adams passed away. Brian Adams, now a widower, was surprised to find himself having feelings of mourning, and also surprised when George Shumway showed up to threaten him in order to get the baby back. When it comes to the Jeters, Wanda has been working with May Olinsky on a campaign to improve the sex lives of the women in town by promoting foreplay. Many of the men in town, including Merle, are up in arms that women are wanting to improve their sex lives and ask for something different. Merle offered Mary Hartman an opportunity to be the spokesperson for his new campaign, Jump for Health, but it came off as a creepy way for Merle to watch Mary skipping rope. And then with the Gimbles, after Garth apologized to Patty and she and Philip moved back into the house, Garth was no better. He was as abusive and controlling as ever, and though Philip feels protective of his mother, Patty is resolute in trying to talk things out with Garth. She finally learns from him his history of family abuse as he was growing up, and she tries to comfort him, but his tirade does not let up. And that's when Patty says that she and Philip are going to leave, but then Garth takes Patty and locks her in the closet. And then with the Haggers, Charlie has been worried sick over his missing wife Loretta. He and Tom went to Merle, who paid lip service to finding Loretta but did nothing. Loretta was abducted a few weeks ago and now has amnesia and is living with an alternate personality called Lulu. Lulu is really manipulative and controlling and the utter opposite of Loretta. She's also a waitress at a diner called Lou's Place outside of Dayton. She's been busy there wrapping the men around her finger, and she recently asked Lou, the owner of the diner, to sell the place so that she could move up in the world. And then last Friday we saw an episode heavily focusing on the Foreplay is Fair Play campaign, and that started with Mary getting interviewed by Harold Clemens from the Fernwood Courier about the campaign. Mary's messaging was muddled. Someone who had a less ambiguous point of view about the campaign was Merle, who was taken aback when he found that Wanda was still involved with the project. He feels that since he is running on morals, that she shouldn't be associated with such a tawdry project. Wanda made clear, though, that their sex life was not as good as Merle thought it was. Tom and George are working back at the factory again. George is thrilled to be back, but Tom not so much. Other than Charlie, the men of the factory are aggravated that the Foreplay is Fair Play campaign is asking for women to do something else, and they are planning some kind of revolt at the Capri Lounge. Over at Lou's Place, Max Slattery wants to get to know Loretta more. In order to get to know her more, he goes a surprising route by getting on one knee and proposing. And then finally, the Shumways get caught up together as a family on all of the events going on in their lives. And then Charlie walks in and announces that Loretta has been found, and no, we don't know what that means. And everyone, that was last week and last Friday's episode. Let's get started on week 16 of season 2.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Mr. Haggles?
Oh, Dr. Osgood?
Yes?
Yeah, I've been going plumb out of my mind here waiting to see my wife. Where have you been?
I was tied up on a life or death matter.
Oh, an operation.
A budget meeting.
Can I see my wife now?
The first question is whether or not she is your wife, Mr. Haggles.
Haggers.
She's been in a coma for over a week now, and we have not been able to make positive identification.
Coma?
Yes, the only thing we have to go on is this purse that she was found clutching at the time of the accident. Can you identify it?
Yeah, that's Loretta's.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't want to be sued for permitting the invasion of a patient's privacy. It would send my malpractice premium skyrocketing.
Yeah, I gave it to her on our 5th-and-a-half wedding anniversary. Yeah, that's hers. I mean, can I see her now, please?
I need some information first. Is Mrs. Haggles covered by any insurance at all?
Haggers, yeah, we got insurance from the plant where I work.
Good. Do you have any proof that the insurance is still in effect?
Can't we do this later on, Doctor? I mean...
First things first, Mr. Haggles.
All right. There, that's my insurance company card.
Fine, thank you. 8097. Is that a 4?
Yes, it's a 4.
4, 8, 1. That's in order.
Thank you. Now, can I go in and see my wife, please?
First, just sign here.
What's this?
Just a formality. You agree to pay any and all charges incurred by the patient not covered by your insurance. All charges must be paid before patient can be released.
Okay.
That's it, right there.
Okay. Now,
And this copy.
okay.
Good. And I need your initials here.
Okay, now can I see my wife, please?
You may see your wife, but just for a moment.
Little Garth.
Mrs. Hartman, he's doing it again.
He's doing what again?
My father, he's slapping around my mother.
Tom, did you hear that? Come in here for a minute. I find it so strange to understand how a person can beat up his own wife, especially if he loves her.
Wait a minute, where are you going?
To visit the Gimbles.
No, wait a minute, hold it. Look, I don't want you to go over there. I don't want you to get involved now.
Oh, sure, that's easy to say, Tom. You know, that's what they said in New York. When a woman got murdered, 40 people actually watched the murder and didn't do anything. You know why? They said, don't get involved.
Yeah, well, look, I'm sure Garth is not doing anything that serious, right?
He's been knocking her down.
You hear that, Tom? I mean, he's knocking her down. I mean, that is serious. I mean, that sounds more serious to me than knocking her up.
Look, he's really gonna hurt her.
Oh, Garth, this is so terrible that you have to be exposed to something like this. Why don't you go upstairs and play with little Heather, okay? Just children's stuff, though. And feel free to take anything you want out of the refrigerator. Just don't touch the beer, okay? I like to save it for the company. And we'll take care, don't worry, we'll take care of everything over at your house. Go ahead, okay?
All right.
But just remember, you know, about the children's stuff.
I don't know what you mean.
No touching.
Oh, all right.
So what should we do?
We're gonna mind our own business.
Tom, it is very serious what is going on over there.
Look, Mary, look, I don't want to worry. I got enough problems of my own, for God's sakes.
But Tom, these problems, they're different. It's a different kind of problem. I mean, she has problems that are very serious. I mean, they needed attending to right now, right this minute. I mean, your problems, I mean, so they'll wait a few days.
Mary, I do not want to talk about this.
You don't want to talk about anything, do you? You really don't, do you? You don't want to talk about wife beating. You don't want to talk about sex. I mean, I really don't see how you can communicate if you don't talk. It happens to be very important in terms of having a successful marriage. It happens to be very important even in terms of a mediocre marriage.
Mary, look, I do not want you to try and go over there and break up their fight. Now, if Garth is really dangerous, like you think he is, I mean, you could get beat up, and, you're not equipped to handle that kind of a situation.
But you are, Tom. You're much stronger than I am. I mean, you do always win when we Indian wrestle.
Mary, look, I do not want you to get involved, you understand? No.
So what you're saying is you won't do anything either, right?
Right.
Hotline.
Brian?
Hello, Kathy.
This place looks like the Rose Bowl or a greenhouse. I guess Christine had a beautiful funeral.
Yes, it was quite a tribute. It's funny how dying brings out the best in some people.
Some people, I guess it does.
Well, I guess you've come for the check.
I guess.
How much was that again? 10,000?
Roughly. You know, I can tell you something funny. If I didn't want to go through with this, I don't have to. Because on account of that contract that I signed under duress, and in the verge of delivering the baby. So legally, there's no case at all.
Who told you that?
Mary, she looked it up.
Well, listen, that sister of yours is more trouble than she's worth.
I know what you mean, but she means well.
Yeah, I guess she does. She did try to save Christine's life.
I am so sorry that Christine died.
I understand.
How is he?
Who? The baby?
I mean, is he eating and sleeping well? And
Oh, Kathy, you wouldn't believe it. He's so adorable. He's smiling and he's healthy and chubby. And he's in the best of care. He has revolving wet nurses. He's got a nanny, and he's got a very doting grandfather.
so Mr. Adams still believes that he's his grandchild.
Positively. Well, there you are. It's been nice doing business with you.
The baby. Brian, Brian, can I see him, please?
Well, I don't think it'll be very advisable under the
Please,
circumstances.
just one little peek. I just want to see if he's all scrunchy like my daddy, please.
Okay, well, just 1 minute. You know, you're not supposed to do it under the contract, but 1 second.
Okay. Where is he?
Right there.
Don't cry.
Pat, are you still in there? Why, Patty Gimble, what are you doing in there? That obviously means you have not made my lunch. Which means I'm going to have to spring for the Spanish rice down at the cafeteria at the plant. I think you ought to stay in there a while longer, Patty, and think about that, huh? Now, I'm going to be late for work. Have to go. Take care of yourself, Patty. Wouldn't want anything to happen to you, sweetheart. Have a nice day.
Pat? 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 Pat, are you here? Pat? Are you okay? Pat? Pat, where are you? Oh, Pat. Oh, Pat. Why won't you say something? I hope there's no brain damage because of the lack of the oxygen in that closet. Oh, well, see, now that's better. That's very good. That's a good thing to do. That releases the tension. That was a very good idea to do that. And you scream again if you want to. Just know that if you do it, I'll have a heart attack, but so what, right?
I give up. I can't fight him anymore. I don't care anymore. He can do whatever he wants. There's no way I can win. So I'll do anything. I'll do anything he wants. Doesn't matter. No matter what. I don't care if he beats me anymore. So what's the difference? It's not important anymore. God. God. Why couldn't you make me a person, someone worthwhile, someone who means something to people?
Oh, Pat. You are a person. I think you're a person. To me, you're worthwhile. Everybody's worthwhile.
Not me. I guess that's what my mother was trying to tell me.
Listen, Pat, I think you're feeling a little bad right now, a little upset, about several things that have happened. So maybe we should be discussing a lot of this later when you're feeling better. Then maybe you'll see that you don't have to put up with any of this from him, okay? Feeling better?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Pat. Oh, no. It does matter. No, don't you see? It does matter. Now, listen to me. We have got to get you out of here. We have got to get you and little Garth out of here. And then what we will do is we will take big Garth and we will have to have him put away into a very, very big place. But first, you and I, are going to have a nice little chat about the Women's Collective of Greater Fernwood, a group that I know absolutely nothing about, but was recommended by the hotline, and they're up on everything. Well, maybe not the collective. Maybe you're right, Pat. So what you will do is talk to a minister of your choice, which I know isn't that easy, especially if you don't have a minister. But if I were you, I would make up my mind reasonably fast, like right now.
Now, my sweetie complains about everything as it is. Now, this Olinsky dame has to come along and give her something new to complain about.
Mm-hmm. Well, God knows I try. I try to give Martha whatever I can give. I'm going to tell you something between us and the vinyl seats right here. Once in a while, I actually get up and turn the lights on. But after 31 years of up and down, a man gets exhausted.
Yeah. All I ever hear is it's too rough, or take it easy, or don't touch me here, don't touch me there. She never used to be that interested in sex.
Yeah, they sure got a lot to say before they get down to any action, don't they?
Yeah, mostly no.
don't know what you guys... Well, I'm bragging. I don't like to brag, but I mean, I don't hear any of that stuff from Loretta.
Oh, Chuck, come on. I don't believe you.
Well, okay. All right, don't believe me. I don't care. Mac, you should see her. You should meet my wife. You really should. I mean, you got a real treat waiting for you, believe me.
I'll tell you, Charlie, I got a little treat of my own.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. There's a little old girl that works in a cafe just outside of Dayton.
Well, I don't mean any disrespect, but you ain't seen nothing till you seen Loretta, fella. I tell you.
I don't know, Charlie. She's something special. I mean, not only is she a sex pot, but boy, can she sing.
Sing! Are you... Look, man, I'm talking about a professional singer. My wife's going to be a superstar. I mean, I'm not kidding around. She's going to be a superstar. Get that. Sing. What, does your girl sing country and western, does she?
Country and western?
What?
No, you don't sing no country and western. See what she sings? She sings these real low-down, sexy blues. Mm-hmm. I mean, that country and western, that stuff's just too square for her.
Square? Oh, man, you don't know anything. Country and western isn't square. Country and western is real, man. That's real pain and anguish and torture.
Yeah, that's real life, all right, Charlie.
Listen, don't get your bowels in an uproar now, Charlie, okay, huh?
All right.
Forget it.
Maybe, I don't know. I think I'm going to split. I mean, I've been under a little stress. I think I'm going over and take a look at Loretta. I mean, all I can see is a bunch of bandages with, like, a laundry bag or something, but I know Loretta's inside there.
Yeah, I hope she is.
So long, guys.
Give her our love, Charlie.
Charlie, something's inside there, Charlie.
I'm going to go, too. I want to get on back to Dayton before my chickie baby gets off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, Mac. Well,
hey,
see you later, huh?
Thanks for the beer, Tom. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, that Charlie, now he's something else, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Doesn't he ever talk about anybody but his wife?
he's got a happy marriage.
Listen, let's get back to May Oblinsky.
Olinsky.
Olinsky. All right, now, what are we going to do about this?
Well, I don't know, but whatever it is, we better get doing it.
My feeling is this. I mean, first of all, who the hell does she think she is? Where does she think our kids come from? From a Sears and Roebuck catalog?
Oh! Hi, guys.
Hi, man.
You still come in here after work for a few belts? It's just like old times.
Yeah. How are you, man?
Aren't you going to invite me to join the party?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be one of the boys when I worked at the plant.
Oh, come on. Come on. Sit down. Sure.
What's the matter?
Well, May, look, the guys are a little bit teed off at you, you know? I mean, they got enough problems with their wives without you creating a war between the sexes, you know?
Oh, I don't want to create a war. Just some communication. All I'm trying to do is have sex more fulfilling for both men and women.
You're talking about war. You want to discuss war. You know what war is? Do you realize something? That my oldest baby daughter was conceived over a kitchen sink while the Japs were attacking Pearl Harbor?
Fantastic.
Men have instincts. Mm-hmm. No woman ever told me how to make love.
Well, perhaps that was because they were too intimidated to ask. I mean, you guys always think there's something wrong with a woman if she wants a little special stimulation, like she's frigid or dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional? I'm going to tell you something, May Oblinsky. Olinsky. In 31 years, there's never been a sex disease in my family.
Yeah, now who are you kidding anyway? Women don't even know those words.
And if they do, they're weird.
Well, you don't know what you're missing. And just because this information is new does not mean that it's bad. I mean, it's like discovering an oil well in Mexico when you didn't know it was there. Someone bothered to look, and eureka, more warm bedrooms. Well, now here's a new oil well, and it makes the drilling more rich and better.
Listen. I work 10 hours a day. You think I'm going to go home drilling for oil?
You know, I've just about had enough of this meddling in my private affairs.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of resent this whole situation. How about you guys?
Well, Yeah.
Now, wait a minute, fellas. Let me tell you something. May, you're a nice woman. You're a nice woman, but I think you stuck your nose into something that's none of your business. So I just would suggest to you that you go and you take it somewhere else.
Yeah, farther else.
Well, your women here in Fernwood feel differently. Your wives. I have important work to do here, and I am going to do it. And even if you guys try to ride me out of town on a rail.
Well, you want to know something, Goldilocks? We just might do that.
I don't know what's going on. Well, let's talk about what's going on. So Charlie's at the hospital with some doctor who wants him to fill out a lot of paperwork. And there is a body. They found a purse that belongs to Loretta. You know, strangely, we've had bits of luggage that, you know, no one seems to know where they are, but they found a purse. And there's a body underneath a bunch of gauze. And I'm going to call that a mystery because no one knows who that is. It's definitely not Loretta. It's not Lulu. We don't know. But I suppose we'll find out. And Philip comes over to the Hartmans because Garth is beating Patty again. And this is really not about Garth and Patty at the moment, but about Tom and Mary and how Mary wants to be involved in the situation, wants to get between Garth and Pat. And Tom doesn't want to get involved. He thinks it's not right, which I don't agree with. And Tom has the strength to take on Garth, but since he doesn't want to be involved, he's not going to get involved. Mary brings up, without naming, the late Kitty Genovese, who was murdered in New York City. As I understand it, the myth about her is that she was murdered in plain daylight. I don't know what time of day it was, but with many witnesses who didn't do anything. And I think the story is a little more complex than that when you get to it. But the way that it's told is that they all did nothing at all. So if I find anything on YouTube, I'll put it up here. Okay, that's where it's going to be. Mary is right that someone needs to go over there and stop things. Tom isn't going over, and Mary doesn't have the brute strength to take on Garth. So she comes up with another idea, and that is the helpline, which she worked for so many months. And then a scene between Kathy and Brian. Kathy makes clear that the contract she signed was under duress and she doesn't have to abide by it. Brian gives her the money, and Kathy gets one final look at the baby. It's after Christine's funeral. Mainly Kathy gets to see her baby for the first time. From there, we jump over to the Gimble residence where Garth has left Pat in the closet. I don't know if she has left the closet since the last time we saw her. I will assume not, because Mary walks in and it's only rustling. She didn't hear any language. Mary figures out to unlock the closet and opens it up, and Pat is traumatized and catatonic. And then that next scene between them, which is Mary doing her best to comfort Pat in the way that Mary can. Maybe, Mary could just be quiet. And that's mainly because if I were traumatized and catatonic, I wouldn't want someone just yammering at me. Mary also comes with information, which Pat hasn't had, I guess. Pat doesn't know, but comes with an option for Pat and Philip, though Philip isn't there. The Greater Woman's Collective of Fernwood is one place that she can go. Or talking to some kind of religious figure is another place she can go. She comes with options, and that's something that Pat has needed because she doesn't have real options at home. And then that meetup at the Capri Lounge with all the factory fellas and Mac. It took me a sec to realize he was there. Of course, they are up in arms about sexuality except for Charlie and Mac. All of the men are just in a mood. because things are changing and they don't want to accept change and they want to control sex. It's a fun exchange between Charlie and Mac, though it is very saddening because they're both talking about the same body, though not the same person, because I don't think of Lulu and Loretta as the same person at all. And they find mostly similarities, except that Lulu sings blues. I think of her more as a jazz singer, but, you know, the blues. And Charlie knows that Loretta's a country singer. But then they head off to try to go to their women. And, of course, Charlie is going to that body in a cast. Again, that's a mystery I'm very curious about. Then May Olinsky shows up because she recognizes the Capri Lounge as the place people went after work. And May is on the right track here, except that the men are not going to listen to her. And I think of the men, Tom was the one who was most willing to listen, but he's on the side of the guys. Not quite escalate, but they seem pretty threatening at the end of this episode without actually making a verbal threat. It seems pretty threatening. So everyone, that was the start of week 16 of season 2 of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We have a lot of roads to go down. We have some seeds that have been planted. We have roads to follow. Thank you for watching with me. Thank you for leaving your thoughts and feelings down in the comments. Thank you for getting personal with me. And we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.